Fayette County, Texas, 1886. While every American settler rushed to install separate cast iron stoves in each room, standard practice, one stove per 200 square feet, a 34-year-old Czech stonemason named Karel Novák was still building in late September. His neighbors called it wasteful. They called him a fool. He constructed a massive corner tower that rose 12 feet from floor to ceiling, with 18-inch thick masonry walls extending into 3 rooms simultaneously. Hardware store owner William Morrison calculated that Karel's ceramic tiles alone cost $47, enough to buy 3 standard iron stoves. That bohunk's building a monument to his own foolishness, Morrison told customers. Karel burned just 2 cords of oak through November and December combined, while his neighbors consumed 8 to 12 cords each, running separate fires in kitchen, parlor, and bedroom stoves. Then January 8, 1887 arrived. The worst cold snap in Texas recorded history struck. Temperatures plunged to 8 degrees below freezing for 6 consecutive days. American stoves failed. Families woke to 38-degree bedrooms and ice forming inside their water buckets, burning through 60 pounds of oak daily per stove and still unable to stay warm. But Karel's corner tower? It maintained steady 72 degrees in all 3 rooms, consuming just 70 pounds of oak total per day. What did this Czech immigrant understand about thermal mass, heat distribution, and corner positioning that every American settler missed? If you value stories of practical wisdom that stood the test of time, make sure to subscribe. We've got more documented accounts worth remembering. The late summer heat of 1886 still shimmered across the Texas prairie when Karel Novák began hauling limestone blocks to the corner where his kitchen, bedroom, and parlor would meet. His neighbors watched with growing bewilderment as the 34-year-old Czech immigrant positioned each stone with meticulous precision, consulting hand-drawn diagrams covered in measurements written in his native tongue. Where American settlers would install a simple cast-iron stove against an exterior wall, Karel was constructing what appeared to be a fortress. The foundation alone consumed 3 weeks. Karel dug down 4 feet, laying a base of mortared fieldstone that extended 6 feet in each direction from the corner junction. His American neighbors had completed entire cabins in less time. William Morrison, who operated the county's primary hardware store, calculated the limestone cost at $12, enough to purchase a quality cast-iron stove with money left for stovepipe and installation. That Bohemian's got more money than sense, Morrison told customers loading standard heating equipment onto their wagons. Karel's approach defied every principle of frontier efficiency. American homesteaders prioritized speed and economy, installing lightweight cast-iron stoves that could heat a room quickly and cheaply. A typical frontier heating system consisted of separate stoves in each major room, kitchen range for cooking and heat, parlor stove for family gathering, bedroom stove for sleeping comfort. Total investment, $36 for 3 quality units. Total installation time, 1 day with basic stovepipe connections. Karel's corner tower demanded different mathematics entirely. The ceramic tiles, specially ordered from Pennsylvania's Moravian potters, arrived by rail freight at a cost of $47, tiles alone. Each tile measured 8 inches square and 3/4 inch thick, glazed in traditional green and blue patterns that his grandmother would have recognized in the old country. American settlers considered such decorative elements pure vanity on the frontier. The masonry work revealed Karel's true intentions. Instead of building a simple chimney, he constructed a complex internal maze of passages called produci in his native language. These horizontal channels, each measuring 8 inches square, snaked through the thick walls at precise intervals. The exhaust gases from his central firebox would travel through these passages, transferring heat to the surrounding masonry before finally escaping up the chimney. American stoves sent 70% of their heat straight up the flue. Karel intended to capture and use 90%. Heinrich Müller, the county's German-born blacksmith, studied Karel's construction with professional skepticism. Müller had installed and repaired cast-iron heating systems for 14 years, developing practical expertise in frontier heating challenges. "Heat don't bend corners," Müller declared, watching Karel install another section of internal flue passage. the Czech's building himself an expensive monument to foolishness. The corner positioning struck American observers as particularly wasteful. Conventional wisdom placed stoves against exterior walls for easy chimney installation and ash removal. Karel's corner design required complex engineering to route the chimney through interior spaces, demanding additional masonry work and structural reinforcement. The corner location also consumed valuable interior square footage that frontier families needed for furniture and storage. By October, Karel's tower stood complete at 12 feet high, its ceramic tile faces gleaming in 3 separate rooms. The kitchen side featured the firebox opening, designed to accommodate oak logs up to 24 inches long. The bedroom wall displayed a smooth tile surface 6 feet wide by 8 feet tall, while the parlor received a similar heated face positioned for optimal furniture arrangement. The total weight approached 2,400 pounds, 16 times heavier than a standard cast iron stove. Local residents gathered to witness Karel's first fire on October 15th. He loaded 35 pounds of seasoned oak into the central firebox, lighting it with practiced efficiency learned in Bohemian workshops. Within 2 hours, all 3 rooms registered 68 to 70 degrees on John Patterson's mercury thermometer. American neighbors required separate fires in each room to achieve similar temperatures, burning a combined total of 120 pounds of oak daily. The economic mathematics troubled Karel's critics more than the initial expense. Morrison calculated that 3 standard stoves consumed approximately 12 cords of oak annually, costing $78 at current prices. Karel's single system, based on European thermal mass principles, should theoretically require only 4 cords per year, $26 worth of fuel. The difference seemed impossible to American settlers accustomed to cast iron heating inefficiency. František Svoboda arrived from Austin in November, carrying similar masonry knowledge from the same Moravian region. The 2 Czech immigrants spent long evenings discussing thermal mass ratios and flue design principles that their fathers and grandfathers had perfected across generations of Central European winters. For every 100 cubic feet of heated space, traditional Czech engineering specified 800 pounds of ceramic and stone thermal mass. Karel's calculations proved precise. 900 square feet of living space, requiring 2,400 pounds of heat-storing masonry. American settlers burned their first cords of oak in November, maintaining separate fires in multiple rooms as temperatures dropped toward freezing. Karel's corner tower demonstrated its first advantage during the initial cold snap. One morning, fire provided consistent warmth through 16 hours of cool weather, while neighbors stoked multiple stoves every 4 to 6 hours to maintain comfortable temperatures. December brought regular freezing nights and the season's first serious test. Karel's system revealed its sophisticated heat distribution capabilities as exhaust gases traveled through the internal passages, warming each room's tile face before escaping. The ceramic surfaces absorbed heat during active combustion, then radiated warmth for hours after the fire died to glowing coals. American cast iron stoves, weighing only 150 pounds each, lost heat rapidly once fires burned down, requiring constant attention and fuel feeding. The community watched with growing curiosity as Karel's wood consumption remained remarkably low, while his 3-room heating performance exceeded anything achieved by conventional methods. Old-timers predicted a harsh winter based on early ice formation and unusual animal behavior patterns. The real test of Karel's expensive, over-engineered corner tower would come when Texas experienced weather that pushed every heating system to its absolute limits. November brought the season's first genuine cold snap, when temperatures plummeted to 35 degrees for 3 consecutive nights. American neighbors fired up their cast iron stoves according to established frontier practice, burning approximately 40 pounds of seasoned oak per room daily to maintain basic comfort. The Johnson family, living quarter-mile east of Karel's homestead, consumed 120 pounds of oak each day to keep their kitchen, parlor, and bedroom adequately heated through the cold spell. Karel approached his corner tower with different calculations entirely. He loaded 35 pounds of oak into the single central firebox at dawn, lighting the fire with techniques learned during Bohemian apprenticeship. The flames consumed the wood efficiently within the deep firebox, sending exhaust gases through the horizontal produce passages that snaked beneath floors and through walls into each adjoining room. By evening, all three spaces maintained steady temperatures between 68 and 70 degrees without additional fuel loading. John Patterson documented the performance differences with methodical precision that characterized his farm management approach. His mercury thermometers registered consistent readings in Karel's 3 rooms throughout the 16-hour heating cycle, while his own cast iron stoves required stoking every 4 to 6 hours to prevent uncomfortable temperature drops. Patterson's detailed records showed his heating system consuming 85 pounds of oak daily to achieve less consistent warmth than Karel's single fire provided. The technical mechanics behind Karel's success puzzled American observers who understood heating through direct iron radiation principles. Heinrich Müller examined the tile faces in each room, searching for the source of consistent warmth that defied conventional heat distribution logic. The ceramic surfaces remained comfortably warm to touch hours after Karel's morning fire had burned to ash, suggesting thermal storage capabilities that cast iron systems could not match. Muller's professional skepticism deepened as he calculated the apparent impossibility of Karel's heating performance. Standard frontier wisdom held that heat traveled in straight lines from source to destination, dissipating rapidly through thin iron walls and up chimney flues. Karel's corner design forced exhaust gases to travel horizontal distances through masonry passages, theoretically losing energy with each directional change and surface contact. The answer lay in thermal mass physics that European heating traditions had exploited for centuries. Karel's 2,400 pounds of ceramic tiles and limestone masonry functioned as an enormous thermal battery, absorbing heat energy during active combustion and releasing it gradually over extended periods. American cast iron stoves, weighing 150 to 200 pounds each, possessed insufficient mass to store significant heat energy once fires diminished to coals. František Svoboda arrived from Austin during the November cold snap, bringing additional Czech masonry expertise and comparative observations from corner stove installations in the capital city. Svoboda measured the temperature differential between Karel's heated rooms and exterior conditions, documenting 30 to 35 degree improvements that exceeded typical cast iron performance by significant margins. The two Czech immigrants discussed flue residence time calculations, the critical period exhaust gases spent transferring heat to surrounding masonry before escaping up the chimney. American heating systems prioritized rapid exhaust removal to prevent dangerous gas accumulation, sending combustion byproducts directly up vertical chimneys with minimal heat transfer opportunity. Karel's produce passages deliberately extended exhaust gas residence time to 45 to 60 minutes, allowing maximum thermal energy extraction before final venting. The horizontal channels measured precisely 8 inches square, large enough to prevent dangerous blockages, while small enough to maximize surface contact between hot gases and heat-absorbing masonry. William Morrison visited Karel's homestead during late November to investigate the heating system that challenged every assumption about frontier fuel efficiency. Morrison brought his own thermometer and timing piece, conducting independent measurements that confirmed Patterson's documentation. One morning, fire in Karel's central firebox maintained comfortable temperatures in 3 rooms until 10 o'clock evening. 16 hours of consistent heating from a single wood loading that would power a standard cast iron stove for only 4 to 6 hours. The economic implications troubled Morrison's understanding of frontier heating costs. His hardware store supplied oak cordwood at $6.50 per cord, with typical 3-stove installations consuming 12 to 15 cords annually. Karel's system, based on November performance, would require approximately 4 cords per heating season, a fuel savings of 8 to 11 cords worth $52 to $71 annually. The savings exceeded Karel's initial construction costs within 2 winters. December temperatures dropped regularly below freezing, providing sustained testing conditions that revealed the corner tower's sophisticated heat distribution capabilities. The ceramic tile faces in each room absorbed thermal energy during morning combustion periods, storing heat within the dense masonry matrix that comprised the system's core. Throughout the day and evening hours, these heated surfaces radiated warmth through natural convection, maintaining steady room temperatures without additional fuel consumption. Karel demonstrated his system's efficiency to increasingly curious neighbors who gathered to witness heating performance that contradicted their practical experience. He loaded the firebox twice daily, morning and evening, consuming 70 pounds of oak total while maintaining three-room comfort that required his neighbors to burn 120 to 180 pounds daily in multiple separate stoves. The corner positioning proved strategically advantageous, radiating heat inward to living spaces rather than losing thermal energy through exterior wall contact. Traditional European knowledge, dismissed initially as immigrant peculiarity, demonstrated measurable superiority over American frontier heating methods through documented temperature maintenance and fuel consumption records. Old-timers observed unusual weather signs throughout December: thick animal fur development, early ice formation on stock ponds, and atmospheric conditions suggesting an exceptionally harsh winter approaching. The real test of Karel's over-engineered heating system would arrive when Texas experienced weather conditions that pushed every technology to survival limits. The stage was set for the ultimate validation of thermal mass heating principles against cast iron convenience, traditional Czech engineering against American frontier assumptions, and immigrant knowledge against established practices that had served adequately until extreme conditions exposed their fundamental limitations. January 8, 1887 brought the Arctic blast that would define the winter in Texas historical records. The temperature plummeted to 8 degrees below freezing at dawn and continued falling throughout the morning, reaching unprecedented depths that caught every frontier family unprepared. By noon, ice formed on interior surfaces of poorly heated homes across Fayette County, and the wind carried a bitter edge that penetrated gaps in log construction with deadly efficiency. The Johnson family, quarter-mile from Karel's homestead, faced immediate crisis as their 3 cast-iron stoves proved inadequate against the extreme cold. Despite burning 60 pounds of oak daily in each stove, 180 pounds total, their bedroom temperatures dropped to 38 degrees by morning, with ice crystals forming inside their water buckets and frost covering interior walls within 3 feet of active fires. Their parlor struggled to reach 48 degrees despite constant stoking, while the kitchen barely maintained 55 degrees near the cooking range. Cast iron heating systems revealed their fundamental limitations under extreme conditions that exceeded their design parameters. The thin iron walls, efficient for moderate weather, conducted heat away from interior spaces as rapidly as combustion could generate it. Worse, the standard chimney design created powerful updrafts that pulled heated air from living spaces directly up the flue, accelerating heat loss precisely when maximum retention was essential for survival. Karel's corner tower faced the same 8-degree temperatures with completely different results. His morning fire, loaded with 35 pounds of oak at 6 o'clock, initiated the thermal mass charging cycle that his Bohemian grandfather had taught him to calculate precisely. The flames consumed the wood within the deep central firebox, sending exhaust gases through the horizontal Pritici passages where they transferred heat to 2,400 pounds of ceramic and limestone thermal battery before final venting. The physics of thermal mass storage became the difference between survival and catastrophe during the 6-day cold snap. Karel's massive masonry system absorbed heat energy equivalent to burning 150 pounds of oak, storing it within the dense material matrix for gradual release throughout the 12-hour heating cycle. American cast iron stoves, weighing less than 200 pounds each, could store energy equivalent to perhaps 20 pounds of oak, requiring constant firing to maintain any warmth during extreme conditions. John Patterson documented the temperature differential with scientific precision that would later prove invaluable to agricultural extension service studies. His thermometers registered steady 70 to 72 degrees in all 3 of Karel's rooms throughout the crisis period, while his own home struggled to maintain 45 degrees in the parlor and 35 degrees in bedrooms despite burning twice as much oak as Karel consumed. The 25 to 37 degree temperature advantage represented the difference between comfort and life-threatening cold exposure. František Svoboda arrived from Austin on January 10th, having traveled through the brutal weather to observe how corner tower stoves performed under extreme testing conditions. Svoboda brought comparative data from 3 installations in the capital city, documenting similar performance patterns where thermal mass heating maintained 70-degree interior temperatures, while conventional systems failed catastrophically. The Czech mason measured exhaust gas temperatures at various points through Karel's Produci system, confirming that heat extraction efficiency exceeded 90% compared to 60% typical for American stoves. The Anderson family sought emergency shelter on January 11th when their wood supply dwindled dangerously and their cast iron heating system proved unable to maintain survivable temperatures, despite consuming their planned monthly fuel allocation in 3 days. Karel opened his 3-room system to accommodate 6 additional people without increasing his wood consumption or compromising interior temperatures. The corner tower's thermal capacity, designed for extended family arrangements common in Bohemian households, easily supported the emergency population. Heinrich Müller visited Karel's homestead on January 12th to witness heating performance that contradicted every principle of his 14-year blacksmithing experience with frontier stoves. Müller measured the tile face temperatures in each room, finding them consistently warm to touch, despite the exterior conditions that rendered cast iron surfaces barely tepid, even during active firing. The ceramic tiles maintained surface temperatures of 90 to 100 degrees, radiating comfortable warmth through natural convection that felt warmer than actual air temperature measurements indicated. The technical explanation lay in radiant heating principles that European masonry traditions had exploited since medieval times. Human comfort depends on mean radiant temperature, the average temperature of surrounding surfaces, rather than air temperature alone. Karel's tile faces provided radiant heating that made 70-degree air feel like 80 degrees, while cast iron stoves created convective heating that made 70-degree air feel like 65 degrees due to cold wall surfaces and temperature stratification. William Morrison calculated the economic implications during his January 13th visit, documenting fuel consumption rates that challenged every assumption about frontier heating costs. Karel's system consumed 70 pounds of oak daily during the extreme weather, maintaining 3-room comfort for 8 people. Morrison's customers reported consumption rates of 180 to 220 pounds daily for 3 stove installations that barely kept single families from freezing, representing fuel efficiency advantages of 60 to 70% in Karel's favor. The Martinez family's infant daughter developed respiratory distress symptoms associated with cold exposure, forcing the family to relocate temporarily to relatives in town where adequate heating was available. 3 other families exhausted their January wood supplies by the 12th, having consumed winter fuel allocations at triple the normal rate while still failing to maintain safe interior temperatures. Karel's corner tower not only survived the unprecedented cold snap, but provided comfortable shelter for multiple families while consuming less fuel than any single family used in failed attempts to heat their own homes. The thermal mass principles, dismissed as immigrant over-engineering 6 months earlier, proved essential for survival during weather conditions that exposed the fatal inadequacy of standard American heating technology. The crisis ended on January 15th when temperatures rose above freezing for the first time in 6 days, but the lesson remained permanently etched in community memory. Traditional Czech knowledge had not merely outperformed American methods, it had saved lives while using 1/3 the fuel consumption of systems that failed catastrophically when tested by genuine frontier conditions. February brought a steady stream of visitors to Karel's homestead as word spread throughout Fayette County about the heating system that had outperformed every American stove during the January crisis. William Morrison arrived with surveying equipment and calculation notebooks, determined to understand the engineering principles behind performance that contradicted his 8 years of hardware store experience. Morrison spent 3 days measuring heat distribution patterns, timing combustion cycles, and calculating thermal efficiency ratios that would inform his future customer recommendations. The hardware store owner documented temperature consistency that amazed him with its precision. Karel's corner tower maintained 71 degrees in the kitchen, 69 degrees in the bedroom, and 70 degrees in the parlor throughout a 14-hour heating cycle initiated by a single morning fire. Morrison timed the heat distribution process, observing how exhaust gases required 52 minutes to travel through the complete Produci system before final venting, compared to the immediate chimney exit that characterized American stove design. Morrison calculated fuel efficiency mathematics that revolutionized his understanding of frontier heating economics. Karel's system produced 72,000 British thermal units per cord of oak through complete heat extraction, while standard cast iron stoves generated only 24,000 BTUs per cord due to direct chimney losses. The 3-to-1 efficiency advantage translated directly into fuel cost savings that made Karel's expensive construction economically superior within 2 heating seasons. Heinrich Müller requested detailed consultation regarding corner tower construction for his own family home after witnessing the system's performance during the January cold snap. Müller brought blacksmith tools and masonry experience, but lacked the specialized knowledge of Produci design and thermal mass calculations that František Svoboda possessed. The 2 European immigrants spent weeks teaching Müller the precise measurements and construction techniques required for successful corner tower installation. The Müller Corner Tower project became the first American adoption of Czech heating technology in Fayette County. Construction began in March 1887 and required 6 weeks of intensive masonry work, with Karel supervising the flue, passage layout, and ceramic tile installation. Müller's system followed identical thermal mass ratios, 800 pounds of masonry per 100 square feet of heated space, but incorporated American lumber framing methods and local limestone sources to reduce material costs. Total construction cost reached $89 for the Müller installation, including ceramic tiles, limestone blocks, mortar, labor, and chimney construction. Müller calculated this expense against his family's annual heating costs of $127 for oak consumption during typical winters, recognizing that the corner tower would generate net savings beginning in its second season while providing superior comfort and reliability. John Patterson commissioned the 3rd corner tower installation after documenting comparative heating performance through the entire 1886 to 87 winter season. Patterson's meticulous record showed that his 3-stove system consumed 12 cords of oak costing $78, while failing to maintain consistent temperatures during cold weather. Karel's corner tower used 4 cords costing $26, while providing superior heating performance throughout the most severe winter in Texas history. Patterson's corner tower incorporated design modifications adapted to American architectural preferences while maintaining essential thermal mass principles. The firebox featured American-style loading doors and ash removal systems, while the ceramic tile faces displayed glazed surfaces in blue and white patterns that complemented frontier home furnishings. Construction required 8 weeks and cost $95, but Patterson calculated 20-year fuel savings exceeding $1,000 based on documented efficiency advantages. The Czech Masonry Guild emerged organically as Karel, František Svoboda, and 2 additional Czech immigrants, Josef Krejčí from Houston and Tomáš Novotný from San Antonio, began collaborating on corner tower installations throughout central Texas. These skilled masons standardized construction specifications to ensure consistent performance across different builders and geographic locations, establishing quality control measures that protected their growing reputation for heating system excellence. Standardized specifications required minimum 18-inch masonry thickness for adequate thermal mass storage, flue channels measuring 8 inches square to optimize heat transfer without creating dangerous gas accumulation, and ceramic tile surfaces totaling 60 to 80 square feet per 3-room installation to provide sufficient radiant heating area. The Guild developed material sourcing networks that reduced tile costs through bulk purchasing and established training protocols for American masons interested in learning European heating techniques. Cultural integration accelerated as corner tower performance created demand that transcended ethnic boundaries throughout central Texas. German families in New Braunfels, Anglo settlers in Austin, and Mexican-American ranchers in San Antonio commissioned Czech masons to build heating systems that combined old-world thermal efficiency with new-world architectural styles. The technology transfer represented successful immigrant knowledge validation within American frontier society. Karel established a construction business specializing in corner tower installations, charging $75 to $95 per system depending on size and decorative tile specifications. His reputation for reliable heating performance generated steady demand throughout the region, with waiting lists extending 6 months as more families experienced neighbors' fuel savings and temperature consistency during subsequent winters. The economic mathematics proved compelling for practical frontier families focused on long-term cost management. Corner towers required higher initial investment than cast iron stoves, but generated fuel savings of $50 to $70 annually while providing superior comfort and reliability. Over typical 20-year home occupancy periods, each installation saved homeowners $1,000 to $1,400 in heating costs, returns exceeding 10 times the original construction investment. Professional validation arrived when the Texas State Agricultural Extension Service announced plans to conduct formal heating efficiency studies during the 1888 to 89 winter season. Extension agents would measure fuel consumption, temperature maintenance, and construction costs for various heating systems throughout Central Texas, providing scientific documentation of performance differences between American and European heating technologies. Karel's transformation from mocked immigrant to respected heating expert symbolized broader recognition that traditional knowledge often contained solutions superior to accepted American practices. The corner tower that neighbors had ridiculed as wasteful over-engineering now represented the gold standard for frontier heating efficiency, proving that immigrant expertise could solve problems that conventional wisdom could not address. The Texas State Agricultural Extension Service arrived in Fayette County during October 1888 with scientific instruments and documentation protocols designed to settle questions about heating system efficiency through rigorous measurement. Extension agents installed thermographic equipment in 12 homes representing various heating technologies, cast iron stoves, wood-burning ranges, and corner tower systems to document fuel consumption and temperature maintenance throughout the upcoming winter season. Dr. Samuel Richardson, the Extension Service's engineering specialist, brought precision instruments from the University of Texas, including calibrated thermometers, fuel scale measurements, and atmospheric pressure gauges to eliminate variables that might skew comparative data. Richardson's team documented that corner tower installations maintained 18 to 22 degrees higher average room temperatures while consuming 62% less fuel than equivalent cast iron stove systems during identical weather conditions. The scientific validation provided authoritative proof of thermal efficiency advantages that Czech masons had claimed based on traditional knowledge and practical observation. Richardson's published report established that thermal mass heating systems captured and utilized 91% of combustion energy compared to 58% efficiency typical for American stove installations. The 27% efficiency improvement translated directly into documented fuel savings and superior temperature consistency. Wealthy clients in Austin and San Antonio began commissioning elaborate corner tower installations featuring hand-painted ceramic tiles imported directly from Moravian workshops in Pennsylvania and Ohio. These premium systems cost $120 to $150, but included decorative elements that transformed heating systems into architectural focal points combining European craftsmanship with American prosperity. The Texas Czech style emerged as a distinct regional variation incorporating both thermal efficiency principles and frontier aesthetic preferences. Karel expanded his business operations to include 3 additional Czech masons and 2 German apprentices trained in Pradachi construction techniques and thermal mass calculations. The expanded workforce enabled simultaneous installations across Central Texas, with projects scheduled through the following 18 months as demand exceeded available skilled labor. Karel established material supply contracts with ceramic tile manufacturers and limestone quarries to ensure consistent quality and pricing for the growing corner tower market. The Mormon settlement in Burnett County commissioned 6 corner tower installations after their bishop experienced Karel's system during a winter visit to Austin. Mormon families, experienced with harsh Utah winters, immediately recognized thermal mass advantages and requested modifications adapted to their communal heating needs and architectural styles. These installations featured larger thermal mass proportions, 1,000 pounds per 100 square feet, designed for extended family arrangements and community gathering functions. Documentation efforts expanded as corner tower owners began maintaining detailed fuel consumption records and temperature logs that validated performance claims through empirical evidence. The Patterson family recorded their system's operation through 3 complete winter seasons, documenting consistent fuel savings of 8 to 11 cords annually compared to their previous 3-stove installation while maintaining superior comfort levels throughout extreme weather events. Cultural integration reached completion when Anglo and German families throughout central Texas began preferring corner towers over traditional American heating systems based purely on economic and performance advantages rather than ethnic loyalty or architectural fashion. The technology had transcended its immigrant origins to become the preferred heating solution for practical frontier families focused on long-term cost efficiency and reliable warmth during harsh winters. Manufacturing innovations emerged as American foundries began producing ceramic tiles specifically designed for corner tower installations, reducing costs and delivery times compared to East Coast suppliers. Texas Pottery Works in Marshall and Jefferson developed glazing techniques that replicated traditional Moravian patterns while incorporating regional design elements that appealed to diverse cultural preferences throughout the expanding corner tower market. Professional recognition arrived when the American Institute of Architects invited Karel to present corner tower construction techniques at their 1890 annual convention in Chicago. Karel's presentation documented thermal mass principles, flue design mathematics, and construction specifications that established corner towers as legitimate architectural heating solutions worthy of professional consideration rather than immigrant curiosities or regional oddities. The Fayette County School Board appointed Karel to serve as building consultant for their new schoolhouse project, recognizing his expertise in efficient heating system design for large interior spaces. Karel designed a modified corner tower system capable of heating the 2-room schoolhouse from a single central firebox, demonstrating scalability principles that extended thermal mass heating beyond residential applications into public and commercial buildings. Real estate values reflected corner tower advantages as properties featuring these heating systems commanded premium prices throughout central Texas. Land agents advertised corner tower installations as valuable improvements that reduce long-term operating costs while providing superior comfort and reliability compared to standard heating options. The heating systems had become recognized assets that enhanced property values rather than expensive immigrant peculiarities. Technical innovation continued as second-generation corner towers incorporated American improvements while maintaining essential thermal mass principles. These systems featured improved ash removal mechanisms, standardized replacement parts compatible with American hardware suppliers, and modular construction techniques that reduced installation time from 6 weeks to 4 weeks while maintaining identical thermal performance specifications. Karel's personal transformation from ridiculed immigrant to respected community leader culminated in his 1890 election to the Fayette County Commission, where he served 3 terms advocating for practical infrastructure improvements based on proven engineering principles rather than conventional assumptions. His corner tower had become a symbol of immigrant knowledge validation and the superiority of evidence-based solutions over accepted wisdom that failed under testing conditions. By 1895, over 200 corner tower installations operated throughout central Texas, each delivering documented fuel savings and superior heating performance that validated traditional Czech engineering principles against American frontier assumptions. The heating systems represented successful technology transfer from Old World knowledge to New World applications, proving that immigrant expertise could solve problems that conventional methods had failed to address effectively. The fundamental lesson extended far beyond heating technology into broader principles of knowledge validation and cultural integration. Karel Novák's story demonstrated that traditional wisdom, initially dismissed as primitive or excessive, often contained solutions superior to accepted practices when tested under genuine frontier conditions that revealed the limitations of conventional approaches.